That's right. We're back counting down our top 20 Walt Disney World attractions, or at least number 20 through number 11. We're really dragging this out. It's the Great Walt Disney World Ranking Podcast.
Wow.
How you doing tonight, Jokers?
You know I'm doing.
All right. So yes, I gotta tell you, man, this has been kind of a hard one to keep up with. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like doing attractions has been a lot more challenging for me versus ranking the films.
Yeah.
And for that reason, the next two ranking podcasts I have are both attraction based, Universal and Coasters. Those are the next two
Wow.
on my docket. So I don't know what
Stay
I'm doing.
tuned. Yeah.
but but yeah, I don't know. This has just been kind of tough for me, man. Just as far as like, ranking like nostalgia versus historical value versus like
Hmm.
I will tell you that there's something on my list that is almost entirely held up by the queue
Okay.
in this section. So we'll just jump right into it. Poe Dameron, who's going first? Do I go first? You go first. I'm just gonna recycle this joke over and over again.
I don't remember who went first last time. I think
Fuck
it
it,
was
I'll go
you.
first. I'll go
Okay, that's
first.
fine.
It doesn't matter.
Okay, you're right, doesn't.
Okay, number 20. This is actually an attraction that's really grown on me over the years. When I first did it, I was pretty underwhelmed by it, but
Yeah.
I like it good enough for it to be on my top 20 now, and that is Frozen Ever After.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I still don't think it holds up to like the scrutiny of, holding it up to like a Pirates of the Caribbean or a Haunted Mansion, even though technically have this ranked above Pirates of the Caribbean. But that's because I obviously would rank the Disneyland version of Pirates over
Oh
this.
yeah. Yeah.
But I do think this does a lot of things right. I think it has enough atmosphere to hold up, even if there are specifically, I think the room that isn't great is the First Time in Forever room, because it's literally just like the Anna, Kristoff, Sven, and Olaf animatronics just up against a wall, and that's kind of it.
Yeah, I think that's where it really shows that they didn't really
Mm.
do much to the actual ride track. Because
But I
then
do appreciate the fact that they used the backward setting in a really creative way.
absolutely.
Like that's the part of the attraction that really has grown on me the more I
Yeah.
ride it,
No,
because it
that's
really
fair.
is very dynamic.
I just would have rather them try to open up that room.
I hear you. I
Because you
hear you.
knock down that wall, you can make 3 scenes into 1, which is probably too much for let
Mr.
it go.
Chapek, tear down that wall.
Yeah. It, it's probably too much
No,
for
it'll cost
Elsa,
us
but
money.
it's true. I forgot about that, yeah. Never mind, keep it. Keep it as is. Get rid of the animatronics.
Love
There's
Chapek is
painted.
just the literal hamburglar now.
Yeah.
Right? He's evolved from Pinhead Larry to the Hamburglar.
Wow, I can't wait to see his next evolution.
Anyways, okay.
Anyway, yeah.
Is it a coincidence that he grew a beard and then they announced, "Hey, check out Thanos with his cool beard"?
Yeah.
All right.
It's a coincidence he grew his beard and then they
And
opened the
also
barber
with
shop.
Frozen Ever After, I actually do think that the bakery next door complements it very well. I've had probably my best cast member experiences in any theme park within that very bakery.
Yeah.
Just a very delightful encounter with a young Swedish man, or I don't know if he was.
Well, he would have been Norwegian Tiki.
Right.
So,
I know. That was stupid of me to say.
it's okay.
And Dragon quotes this to this day. He loves the story. The guy was so nice, and he was like, "Have you tried the school bread?"
Yeah.
Anyways, so yeah, Frozen Ever After, I do think it holds up as like a pretty decent pillar for the World Showcase, and I'm glad that they have Ratatouille on the other side of the lagoon now as well.
No, totally.
All right, what's your number 20?
My number 20 is Muppet Vision 3D.
All right, yeah, this did not make my top 20.
I know. I don't know. I think I mean, honestly, some of this is probably nostalgia, but like, I don't know. I really like the
I was
areas
kind of trying
surrounding
to
it.
separate nostalgia because the last couple times I've done Muppet Visions, I have just kind of sat through it like, yeah, this is Muppet Vision. It's
Yeah, no,
good.
that's fair. I mean, I was trying to do this objectively, but of course,
Mhm.
some of them are gonna be skewed by nostalgia. But I really like the area surrounding, even though it's kind of a shell of its former self. Uh, I like the queue's great, the pre-show's great, even though they still have the Muppets Most Wanted stuff in there for some reason. Uh, Obviously, the show is fantastic. Um, I'll try. I usually do it once a visit to MGM, so not once a trip. Every time I'm in that park, I will go to Muppet Vision.
No,
Um,
I'm the same way. Even if I
yeah,
don't completely like, it's still one of the best things in the park, I think.
yeah, no, absolutely. So I don't have too much to say about it because we've talked about it already.
Okay.
But I really enjoy Muppet Vision, and
All right.
it deserves to be ranked 20th and not higher or lower.
Okay, number 19, just continuing on with the World Showcase theme, we have the American Adventure.
That's really funny because that's my 19
Oh,
too.
really? Are you
Yeah,
serious?
yeah,
That
yeah.
is funny.
We did it. Great job.
Is that the first time we've done that?
I think so. I know we've had it before where like year 20 has been my 19 or
Uh-huh,
vice
uh-huh.
versa, but I don't think we've ever had it the exact same ranking. So great job. We're all on the same page. Number 18.
All right, American Adventure. You're gonna laugh at what my number 18 is and how the fuck it's over number 19. I think you can
Yeah.
probably guess it's in the World Showcase. Hint, hint.
Yeah.
You
It's the
probably
French.
know it. Yes.
Oh, the friendship boats. Okay.
No, I thought you said is it French?
No.
So yeah, there you go. But
Yeah.
honestly, it comes down to pacing for me. I think American Adventure is a great show. I really do. Um, way, way, way better than Hall of Presidents. Like,
Mm.
I still, honestly, if given the choice, I would still probably take Mr. Lincoln over this. Uh, there's just something about the intimacy of Mr. Lincoln and something about just how well written and iconic Mr. Lincoln is as a show.
Yeah.
Because this
Yeah.
is as cool as it is, I do think it has some clunky pacing to it, and that's why it's 19 for me. Like
No, it
honestly, if
does.
they ironed out some of the pacing problems, I could totally see this in my top 10, honestly.
I think the biggest issue with this show, and I love the size of it. That's like the biggest thing for me. Like I love how grand everything
Mhm.
is. Obviously, I love the building. The queue is really cool, or not the like the holding area is really cool. Um, but like you're right, they're trying to go chronologically in the story of America, but Ben Franklin and Mark Twain don't really come out enough, so it just kind of turns into like Country Bear pacing, where they're just doing like one song after the other. Like I don't know.
Yeah, I and then we have the Golden Dream song, which I just think really drags right in the middle.
What? Golden Dreams is at the end.
Is it at the end?
Yeah, it's at the end, and then they have one more scene
Okay, well,
where
that song just really takes a long time and it feels very outdated. And I
yeah,
know it's in Mr. Lincoln too, and I don't like it there either, but at
I
least it
don't
makes,
like it outside of American Adventure, but I like it in American Adventure.
I guess that makes sense.
That
Yeah.
being said, I do wish that they would add like a scene or two so it's not ending at like
Uh-huh.
World War II. And
No,
then
I hear you. Yeah, I think that's probably why I'm like, oh, this isn't the ending yet because it doesn't feel like the end point in the story.
yeah,
Yeah.
because at this point we're like going through 80 years of history in a
It should honestly
montage.
end with the dawn of the Apple computer.
I would say like with MLK or something,
Yeah.
because the dawn of the Apple computer would be in Spaceship Earth.
I mean, you're right, but still, that would kind of link the two attractions together. And also, I feel like that is kind of like the last. This is going to sound incredibly negative, and I don't mean it to, but it's like that was like the last like super positive thing that happened to humanity collectively.
Yeah, but American Adventure isn't always about the positives, you know? Like I think American Adventure should focus more on like cultural
Okay, I'm
progression
trying to
rather than
dance around it,
scientific technological.
but like we don't want to end on like 9/11 or something.
Well, no, we do. Well, yes and no. I think that would be a
I mean,
really
if we're
poignant.
going for the World War II type ending, that would be the natural like.
Well, no, I was just gonna say that I think that'd be a really poignant ending because the
Uh-huh.
whole point of the whole thesis of the American adventure is about the enduring American spirit,
Mhm.
where the Apple computer is more like, oh, like some guy made a computer and then he became an asshole, which is, I guess that's the American spirit, but not in the same way that they want to present.
It's also about the guy. It's more what the people did with the computers, but
Yeah, but I feel
I
like
get what you're saying.
yeah, like the American adventure is more about the people rather than like the overarching
Uh-huh.
culture, you know? Where that's why I feel like they should end with like MLK or like or if they really wanted to, I could see them doing 9/11.
Uh-huh.
It would definitely be controversial, but I wouldn't be against
Oh,
it.
it would be very controversial. I
Yeah.
could not
Or
see this
honestly, they should just
actually
end with the
putting
Trump
9/11 in the
inauguration.
park.
Like why wouldn't they just end with Trump? I don't understand. They already have the animatronic.
Oh
It's
God.
right there. Like
All right, so let's move on to number 18.
it just end
Tell
it
me
just
why
ends with
I'm wrong about impressions to France.
it just ends with the capital attacks. Anyway, we'll move
Tell me why I'm wrong about Impressions de France being number 18.
because it makes me sleep. Impressions to France, more like impressions to farce.
I feel like American Adventure makes me say more than Impressions de France, to tell you the
The
truth.
Eiffel Tower is my ass and the Champs-Elysees my balls.
Oh, God. Okay, so Impressions de France is honestly like I am taking historical value here into pretty high consideration, given the fact that it is literally, unequivocally, the thing in opening day Epcot that has not been touched since opening. It
Yeah.
is exactly the same, and I value it for that. I also value the fact that it is the three-quarter circle vision where you actually get to sit down in a nice theater. That alone, I think, is like just really valuable to have in any theme park as attractions like that.
Yeah, like I like I like the presentation of it. Um the music's great, like the video's great, but like
Obviously, the music is great.
yeah, I mean, yeah, but like I don't know,
I
it's
don't
not
know, man. There's something just enchanting about this thing. Like I said, the opening day factor is very high,
I
but
just think it's really dry. That's my biggest thing.
I don't know. I like it because it's dry. I like
That's
that
fair.
travelogue style. Um, and it's why I'm kind of just rooting for it to never leave. I mean, honestly, I think it's kind of a miracle that it hasn't left yet, and
No,
it's
I agree. Also, super quick, yes, it has always been. The presentation hasn't changed for impressions.
it's just
It
like
is
it's just such a vintage piece of like I want to say Americana because in spite of it being French, it very much feels like one of those old school American travelogues. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
no, that's fair.
Um, I don't know.
I don't know.
I know it's too high. I know it's too high. I'm aware of it.
Yeah. Like I enjoy it, but I wouldn't rank it nearly this high. I don't dislike it,
That's totally
but
fine. I
yeah,
just I don't know. For me, it just kind of like it is one of the go-to things at Epcot for me.
that's fair.
All right. Anyways, what's your number 18?
My number 18 is it's Expedition Everest, Tiki.
Oh, all right. Well,
Yeah. I know. No, I know. Um I really enjoy Expedition Everest, but I think the biggest thing for me is I don't necessarily go to Disney parks for the thrills. And
I don't necessarily love Expedition Everest just for the thrills.
well, no, I know. I understand that. But it's kind of a shell of its former self as well. Um,
I don't
unfortunately.
think it's as bad as Indy, honestly.
Oh, absolutely not. No, absolutely not. But we're not talking about Indy. We're talking about Expedition Everest. Damn it.
Journey to the Forbidden Mountain.
Yeah, I have fun with it. I enjoy it. Um, I think I prefer Dinosaur. Um, I don't know. It's
Why did
just
I
like
get the impression you were down on Dinosaur?
No, I like Dinosaur. I really like Dinosaur. I prefer Indiana Jones, but I really
I
like
feel like
Dinosaur.
that's why, because every time I get off of Dinosaur and I'm like, Dinosaur's better than Indy, you're like, no, it's
Because
not.
you're wrong.
I think I'm pretty objectively right.
Okay, whatever you say, it's okay.
Animatronics are animatronics are animatronics are
It's
animatronics.
okay to be misinformed. It's fine.
Indy has the
Um,
better queue. Dinosaur is the better ride.
I disagree with that. But anyway, I really enjoy Expedition Everest. I love the world building. I love the queue. I love the setting. I just don't think the ride necessarily stands up to what it's trying to set up.
I have my
You know,
reasons for loving the ride,
that's a-okay.
and I do
I'm
think,
also like, I've never really been impressed by the thrills of it either.
honestly, me neither. I don't.
Yeah.
I'll talk about it. I'll talk.
No, that's fair. Yeah. I don't know. It's fun,
Uh-huh.
but like I prefer the dark rides. I prefer the immersive experiences.
I
Um,
I do think
and
it's
I
an
think that's the
experience.
biggest thing for me is that it's just not what I prefer at a Disney park.
Ooh, this is tough to not defend, but we're like, yeah, okay.
No, that's fair. That's a-okay.
Okay, number 17 is I believe you already cracked this out. I don't really have a ton to say about it. It's Jungle Cruise.
I think we did talk about Jungle Cruise.
Yeah, I
Did
don't
we
have a
talk
ton
about
to
it?
say about it. I think
We have not yet talked about Jungle Cruise.
oh, we have not really?
No.
Okay, my bad.
No, it's fine.
I don't know. I think there's good and bad qualities to, like, I think there's not necessarily good and bad qualities, but pros and cons to both the Disneyland and Disney World version.
Mm,
But at the end of the day, I think I do prefer the Disneyland version.
okay.
Uh, this is solid though.
Mm,
I don't know. I don't have a ton to say about it.
that's okay. I'll talk about more when I get to it, but I think I prefer Disney Worlds. But it's also been a very long time since I've ridden Disneylands. Even Tokyo's is based off of Disney Worlds.
I think
Um,
Disneyland just has like it has more consistently good set pieces, whereas Disney World has more blank spots to it, I feel.
again, I'd have to ride Disneyland's again, but I don't
Like
think I agree.
I am not a fan of the cave. I'll throw it out there right
Oh, I
now.
was good. That's what I prefer. I really like the
I
temple.
feel like the cave, let's talk about that because I feel like the
Okay.
cave is kind of like the big dividing thing
Mm.
for people. Either
I
people
also prefer Disney World's Trader Sam, even though they're gone.
really,
But I do
even though
prefer Disney.
people really dig the cave and I dig it from an aesthetic point of view, sure. But honestly, I don't think much happens in there, and I think the actual like section on Riot is kind of boring beyond just the novelty of going through the tunnel.
I don't know. I think it's fun. I like the tiger. I like the snakes. I think there's snakes in there. I think it's a
I
cool
guess for
way.
me, it's weird because like the Disneyland version, you literally see those animatronics right at the top, and you can,
Well, yeah.
and not only that, but you can see those animatronics like from the Indiana Jones exit pathway.
Mm,
And so I
I
guess
don't
for
know.
me, there's like a disconnect of like, literally the most visible on ride animatronics at Disneyland are like hidden away at Disney World.
I think it's a cool way to differentiate. I think it's a cool
But does that
addition.
make sense? Like just psychologically why it just doesn't like
I
jump
mean,
out to me?
I don't think it would bother me, but I guess I understand why it bothers you.
Okay, fair enough.
Um,
I'm weird.
uh,
I get it.
no, I like it. I think it's a fun way to get to the elephant bathing pool.
Oh,
Um, I think I'd prefer it if they did to it what Tokyo did to it.
I do like having
Um,
the elephant bathing pool as a finale. I do think
yeah,
that's
no, I agree with that.
well.
Yeah, yeah. That
But
Tokyo
again,
is
it's weird
totally.
because at Disneyland, it's like towards the start. So,
I know. Yeah, yeah. In Tokyo, the temple's all projection mapping, so I'd like them to do that at Disney
ooh,
World.
that's cool.
You can see videos of it. It's a
Uh-huh.
lot of fun. Um, but I enjoy it. I think that's the big differentiating factor. I prefer Disney World's queue. Um, I yeah, I like the area they set up around it
Uh-huh.
for jungle. I like the little like esplanade that they have for Jungle
Sure,
Cruise.
sure, sure. All right.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, what's your number 17?
My number 17 is The Seas with Nemo and Friends.
Really, it's that high?
Yeah.
Wow.
I like the seas of Nemo.
I
I
think
like
it's like
aquarium.
pretty low for me, actually.
It was pretty low for you.
Yeah.
I like aquariums. I prefer the living seas. I have a lot more nostalgia for the living seas.
Uh-huh.
But I think the dark ride's a fun dark ride. Honestly, it's mainly for the aquarium.
Sure,
But
sure.
the dark ride's fun. I actually really like the queue. I think the queue's really cool. Yeah, I think it's a lot of fun. I like seeing the dolphins. I like the manatees. I guess like as much as I don't like the Finding Nemo characters there, I think it's a cool way to get children excited about sea life. Um, like the Bruce's like the room with the sharks, like Bruce's room and stuff like that. It's fun. They added some cool stuff. But really, I just like the pavilion as a pavilion, and I think that's why it's so high.
Mhm.
It's
And
unique
also,
for a
I'm
Disney
sorry,
World.
I could have sworn that I actually privated this video. I like this video wasn't meant to be
No, it's
recorded
okay.
live, but that's okay. We have live
Yeah.
guests. That's fine. Welcome,
Mhm.
C&K and Nathan Reda. Um,
Hello.
happy to have you. I just didn't realize for some reason I was intending to upload this tomorrow, but that's okay. No big
Yeah,
deal.
it's almost tomorrow.
Indeed, indeed. I'm
Yeah,
actually surprised we have this many live guests this
I
late at
know.
night, but okay. Anyways, so my number 16 is going to be let's get some backstage passes. That's right, it's
Wow.
a roller coaster.
I can't believe it.
Yeah, I like this quite a bit. I think it's probably the most intense ride at Disney World. Would you say so?
Yeah, yeah,
From a
definitely.
sheer, I mean, it's probably either that or Mission Space, but this is like the most intense ride that doesn't feel like it's literally trying to kill you.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know. I do really appreciate the grimy aesthetic of this thing. I really do. I think that's honestly probably my favorite thing about it.
Mm,
I really, really dig. Like, it's honestly one of my favorite stations in all of Disney World.
mm.
Just that, like, that back alley feeling. Like, it's very, very different from. It feels more like something that you'd see in a Universal park. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, totally.
And I don't know. I just really, really dig that about it. And I feel like the anticipation of the launch with the screen and everything is really well done. I've already mentioned this before, but I actually really do like that little exit platform, and I think that it really does feel like you've kind of made a full transition from like the grimy alleyway to like the glitz of the of the concert. Like storytelling wise, it's surprisingly well done,
Mm.
and it's got a lot of meme potential with that pre-show.
I know. Yeah.
There's like every time I go in there, there's at least one person who's just quoting it by heart.
Good, as
And
they should.
I feel like that's the kind of shit that like I don't mind the quoting with, right? Like I mind the quoting with the Haunted Mansion because that is a vibe and you want to get into that vibe.
Yeah.
But Rock and Roller Coasters, like it's already such an inherently stupid premise. I feel like the riffing is only appropriate.
Yeah. No, totally.
All right. I feel like Rock and Roller Coaster, just as far as like that pre-show goes, it's a much better attraction than Fast and the Furious, but I feel like that pre-show is kind of like the equivalent to the supercharged pre-show.
Yeah. No, I can see that.
Kind of like goof on it.
Yeah.
All right. But
But
again,
it's actually a
much
good
better
play.
actual attraction.
Yeah. Thank you for name dropping my number one attraction to Universal.
Supercharged.
Yeah.
I honestly like if I were to do a universal ranking, it would not be last. I'll say that.
Really?
Yeah, it wouldn't.
What would be last? The Nut House coaster?
I mean, honestly, yes, probably.
Yeah. I know your game.
That or probably like Hanger Kodos, maybe.
Oh, actually, I like Hang Kodos.
Well, it's fine, but it's like one fish, two fish, except it doesn't have the water gimmick. So
I fucking adore One Fish, Two Fish.
I, it is a good ride. Anyway,
I like going on it with my mom and then not listening to the directions.
I actually found the directions hard to follow, to tell you the truth.
I think they're supposed to be impossible. Some
Uh-huh.
of them, because they
Uh-huh.
want you to get wet. But
Right.
anyway, we're talking about the other side of Orlando.
Indeed.
So my number 16.
If it's Animal Kingdom, then it's technically Kissimmee.
Yes, you're right. My number 16 is Peter Pan's Flight.
Okay.
Yeah, it's classic. I like Peter Pan's Flight. I actually really like the new queue that they added to it.
Oh, the queue is glorious.
I would ride it a
has
lot
a lot.
more. I would ride it a lot more if the waits weren't atrocious.
I hear you.
I
feel like if they just got rid of Fast Pass, the waits would be a lot more tolerable.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I don't know actually, because I rode it in Tokyo.
Like, how is it with Lightning Lane?
I rode it in Tokyo without Fast Pass, and it was still a pretty bad wait.
Oh, really? Huh.
Yeah, it was still like not as bad as the US, obviously.
I'm
still
actually surprised how little the fact that it's an Omnimover does.
I think it's just because the capacity is so low, because each car only fits 2 people. The ships are big and clunky.
Right.
So it's not like Haunted Mansion where they're right on top of each other.
Sure, that makes sense.
So I think that's a lot of it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think I prefer Disneyland's, but I still really like Disney World's is the second best to me.
I do not agree with that opinion.
Really? You prefer Disney World's?
I prefer Disney World's, yeah.
Do you not like the projection mapping in Disneyland?
I do not, but we'll get there. This is actually my number 13, so I'm
okay. Spoilers, Tiki. Come on.
Yeah.
No, but we'll talk about more when we get there. But I have a lot of fun with it. I think it's a great ride. It's probably the best Fantasyland dark ride.
Probably. I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be different if Mr. Toad was still standing, but alas, it's always standing in my heart.
Wonderland were in the park.
Yeah, that's very fair too.
In my opinion.
Yeah, but Peter Pan's Flight is just a lot of fun. It's really unique. I appreciate it for its uniqueness. I love the sets. Yeah. Cool
okay.
Ride.
All right, so here's the ride that I know you're going to disagree with me on, and honestly, I am very surprised at the placement myself. But every time I go to the park, I find myself just like attracted to this thing for a couple reasons. One, because I think the queue is legitimately incredible. Like, I really think it's one of the best queues Disney's ever done. And 2, it's so much easier to get on than the California version.
Yeah.
And that is Midway Mania.
Okay.
Toy Story Mania in this case.
Yeah.
And honestly, I do think that Toy Story Mania is the best shooting dark ride that's ever been created. From a gameplay perspective, at least. From a gameplay perspective, most definitely, I think. I think Men in Black is probably technically a better ride, like from an atmosphere and storytelling perspective.
Yeah.
But just from a sheer gameplay perspective, you really can't beat this gameplay. The gameplay is as solid as any light gun arcade game. You know what I mean? If not more fluid than that.
Yeah.
And it's just got a really good competitive edge. I feel like the spinning, I appreciate the actual on-ride stuff more. The more I do it, the spinning, the air blasts and stuff like that. It's not much. It's still basically a light gun arcade game on wheels. But you know what? There's something inherently really fucking fun about that. And like I said, I feel like it's a lot more accessible than the California Adventure version. If anything else, because I hate the California Adventure queue. I really think it's one of the worst queues in that entire resort. Yeah. Whereas this is one of the best queues in the resort, in my opinion. It really does go to show what a good queue can do. But even that, maybe I've just gotten lucky, but I feel like it's a lot like the Soarin' situation where I found myself just in the park in the middle of the day with this being a practical walk-on. And I'm not sure how rare that is, but that's certainly never the case in California.
I think that's pretty rare.
Probably.
In Florida. Yeah.
But I never saw it get over maybe 20, 30 minutes at the absolute most. I don't know. Maybe I was there at a good time.
I think you just got lucky because I usually see it around 45, 60.
That's fair.
Yeah. I don't know. I still think
the exit walkway is just phenomenal. I really not enough people talk about how good it is. I feel like Toy Story Land as a whole it's a great land at night. It's not a great land during the day. There's a lot of open space, and it almost kind of reminds me of Dollywood's Wildwood Grove in that way, where it just functionally works better at night. But
Yeah.
that exit pathway is just it is the most immersive spot. I would say not just in Toy Story Land, but probably in all of Hollywood studios. Like the perspective there is just so spot on.
Mm. Yeah,
And
like
sorry, I keep
no,
in.
no, no, it's fine. I like it more now that Toy Story Land is there. Um,
Certainly, certainly.
but I still think the superior version is Tokyo.
Oh, I don't doubt that.
And I like the placement of Disneyland's of California Adventures.
I think
But
Disneyland, there's a lot it has going for it. Like I love the exterior. I do really like the exit
yeah,
with the playset and everything. We talked about that when you ranked this,
yeah,
but at the same time, I don't know. I just again, it kind of comes down to the queue. I just think the queue at Disneyland is just kind of miserable to walk in.
no, that's totally fair. I don't disagree with that. Disneyland
Um,
has too many outdoor queues for how hot it gets there.
oh yes, oh
Yeah,
yes.
yeah,
Yeah, ZK points out the only thing about Cali's queue is the exit when you see the toy box you were just in. Yeah, that is
yeah.
cool. That is for sure a really
I really like that.
a solid thing that Disneyland has.
Yeah.
All right, number 15.
Number 15.
Number 15.
Jungle Cruise.
Do you guys still have that audio?
Yes, we do.
Fucking post that shit.
Well, no, I'll talk to you after. I'll
All
tell
right,
you about
fine,
it
fine.
later. All right, Jungle Cruise, my number 15. We kind of already talked about it, so I don't think I really have too much more to say about it. But it is my number 15, 1-5.
All right, that's fair.
Yeah.
All right, number 14 for me is Kilimanjaro Safaris and what?
Tiki, that's my number 14. Too.
Really? Nice,
yeah.
nice.
two in a row. We got two this week.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. This out of all the attractions, this might have been the hardest one for me to rank.
Okay.
Because I really, really appreciate this thing from the perspective of what it's setting out to do.
Yeah.
But what it's setting out to do is so different from literally any other Disney attraction.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you see it's very hard to judge. Like it might be one of the greatest, like it probably is the greatest safari ride on the planet, just as far as like, going into well, I'm just saying going into a
outside
controlled
of Africa. Yeah.
Well, Africa, sure, but I'm saying going into a very controlled environment where you're pretty much guaranteed to see stuff.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've done a few other ones. Like I did one at the San Diego Zoo, and this was definitely a lot better. Like Kilimanjaro's is definitely the best one.
I can tell you that it's infinitely better than Busch Gardens, which Busch Gardens literally just feels like Busch Gardens literally just feels like being on a big community golf course.
Yeah.
With animals. It's honestly sad.
Honestly, the only thing I have against Kilimanjaro Safaris is that it was better when I had the story. I think it lost a lot by getting rid of that story. Especially shows in the end where you go through all this stuff and then you just see monkeys and then you get off. Where
I mean that's fair, yeah.
Yeah, that through line
I feel like functionally it doesn't really need to have a story.
No, it doesn't, but for such a long, sprawling attraction, I think having that through line of conflict really helped keep people engaged.
I mean, I kind of look at it as like the Universal Tram Tour or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, even that has some story beats.
I mean, well, yeah,
a little bit. Yeah,
stupid Fast and Furious stuff.
It does, and you see Marilyn Monroe.
Literally the strongest story beat in that ride. So,
well, King Kong is a story beat where you go out and there's a smashed Universal Studios tram. 70 poor souls lost that day.
But Fast and the Furious is the only one where like the characters are directly interacting with you.
Oh yeah. Point being, I think it lost a little bit by getting rid of that story. But it's still a fantastic ride. I still love it. I still do it every time I go. I will wait in the line for it if I have to. I usually don't have to, but yeah.
Yeah, I need to do it more often. I need to do either an early morning or a sunset ride.
Yeah, I actually really like it. So we usually do early morning, which is fun,
Uh-huh.
but the animals aren't always out. Um,
Really? Because
mid-afternoon.
I heard specifically do early morning because there's more animals.
Well, I've had better luck doing like closer to sunset, like late, like maybe like 4
Okay,
p.m.
okay, because that's the other time I've heard. Yeah.
Yeah, because we've done it at like 4 p.m. or so before, and it's been amazing. Like all the lions are out, like they're very visible, stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
Uh,
Nice,
yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Um, ZNK says, I understand why that pesky story stuff got removed. Why not just let a cool real safari be a cool real safari?
I don't know. I thought it added some thrills because they had like a chase at the end where they
Uh-huh.
drive the jeep really fast.
All right, so number 13 for me is Peter Pan's Flight.
Okay.
I'm just going to get into why I think this is better than Disneyland's.
Okay.
First of all, we already agree that I think it's by far the best dark ride at Walt Disney World, whereas at Disneyland, it's just the most popular one, and there's like two other dark rides that are superior to it, and it gets frustrating long lines as a result, and it's just hard to actually ride. This is not easy to ride, but I feel like the actual wait times are more justified, if that makes sense, because
Hmm.
it's just more superior. I also think that it very much feels more classic than the Disneyland one does. I am not a fan of the projection mapping at Disneyland. I don't get me wrong. I am a fan of the projection mapping that they did in Alice in Wonderland. I'm a big fan of that. I think it can be done really well. I just don't like the fact that they took out a lot of the physical stuff in the London room. I don't like that at all, and I far prefer the London room to be physical. I think that's what makes the London room what it is.
Hmm.
And honestly, let's be honest and say that ET just curb stomps all versions of Peter Pan's Flight,
I mean,
in my
yeah,
humble opinion.
yeah.
But ET is just Peter Pan but better. But yeah, I don't know. This it just has a lot of charm to it. Um it just feels very old school Walt Disney World. Like to me, I almost kind of get the same sort of. This is going to sound like a really weird fucking comparison, but even though they have added the queue and everything, um, the attraction is like almost kind of like rough around the edges in a very charming way. Like for example, the fact that in the Neverland room you just hear the audio of like "Fire, Mister Smee" just
Yeah,
over and over and over again.
yeah.
I don't know. There's just something very charming, very old school about this. Um, it is one of the rides that would I would always fast pass, but
Mm,
the few times I have waited in the queue, I have really enjoyed the queue. And the
yeah.
queue I do think adds a lot. I think it's genuinely um really, really good. So
Mm,
all right, that's it.
yeah. No, I get what you're saying. I don't know. Maybe I have to see Disneyland's again, but I
I am
think
in the minority of people who I actually don't think I've seen anyone else have a problem with it.
I
So
don't know. Yeah, I'll have to watch a video again because I haven't been to Disneyland in a really long time.
uh
It's been 6 years, more than 6 years. But
CNK, yeah, the fact that they did replace a lot of the figures, I mean, like I said, the Disney World one does just kind of have the old school vibe to it, that I
mm,
just don't think the Disneyland one does. All right.
yeah, cool. Anyway, next 13. You're on 13.
Uh-huh.
My number 13 is Spaceship Earth. Biggest
Okay, yeah.
issue, that goddamn descent.
Yeah, I was gonna say if it wasn't for that, this would be a lot higher.
Yeah, yeah. I used to love the Jeremy Irons version, and over the years, the Judi Dench version has grown on me. but it just that descent kills me. I don't want to do the video thing. I have no interest in it, and
I
I
would
don't want to
honestly
look at
rather just sit
blacklight
down and
triangles.
sorry, I would rather just sit down and literally just take a break than do the
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I don't know. I just wish they would have done something to it. It's been almost 20 years. It's been well, like yeah, it's been like 16 years, I think. Almost been like
I
15.
would
It's
honestly
it.
just prefer like a dark hallway with some projection mapping.
I mean, that's basically what it is right now. I don't. I think what
Like,
bothers me
yeah,
the
but I'm
most is
saying
that
just take
those
out
old.
I'm saying the interactive, like make your own screen
Oh no, I got you.
is
Yeah,
like actively detrimental. Like just
yeah,
take that out because it's
yeah.
actively detrimental to the experience.
I don't know. The biggest thing that kills me is that those old scenes are behind walls. They didn't even remove them.
Right, right.
The original Descent, so you would like see Earth as you do now, and then it would reverse, and they'd have like little dioramas of like fiber optics of like email and internet and phones like traveling across the world to show how the entire world is interconnected.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And then you get like these big vignettes of like what is it? There's like a girl in Japan talking to a boy in the US, and their computers translating each other's languages to each other so they can understand. Or like a mother across the country talking to a father right after the mother's had a baby. Like
Right.
stuff like there's like these really nice vignettes showing how the world is more interconnected than ever. Yes, more yeah, post 80s technology past nondescript Steve Jobs and Wozniak sitting in a garage, and then the Earth, and then Judi Dench like pointing her finger and saying, "What about you?" And then you get to make your own feature. Um, yeah, it was a lot of fun, and the soundtrack really made it. Jeremy Irons' narration was really great.
Mhm.
Definitely watch it if you can. There's videos of it on YouTube. Yeah. So that's my
Right.
rant about Spaceship Earth. Thank you for coming tonight.
Okay, my number 12 barely missed the top 10. It's
Oof.
going to be the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I don't know, like I feel like this is kind of like what you were saying about the thrill thing where it's like I honestly think this is one of the very few rides at Disney World where I'm not like I honestly think this is as high as it is. I don't dig the actual ride part of this, believe it or not.
Really?
I think it was too hyped up for me. I've just never. I honestly think I don't prefer the California Adventure version of the Tower of Terror, but
Mm.
I think I prefer Mission Breakout as far as the on ride component goes.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
but anyways, I think I think why it's up as high as it is just because of its iconic nature and how it looms over the park. And, obviously the queue is one of the best queues in all of Disney. It's like, I feel like the queue is kind of like the modern day equivalent to the Haunted Mansion, right? Where it's just
Mm.
like the pre show and and just everything building up to the actual ride. And people are going to say that Rise of the Resistance is a modern day equivalent to that, and it is, sure. I just don't think
Yeah.
it's good personally, but that's just me. It might be technologically impressive, but anyways, I'm not going to go back on Rise. Jesus Christ. But yeah, I don't know. I think part of it for me is that I did do the California one first, and while I certainly think that the outdoor queue is obviously a lot better, and I like the design of the building more,
Mm.
I think once you get inside, it's more or less kind of the same. So yeah, with that in mind, I don't know. I just feel like the fact that I grew up with the California one. I'm not saying that the California one was a better ride. I just think it probably like softened the impact that this one had on
Mm.
me when I finally did get to it. Uh, and if I'm being honest with you, I'm not really all that impressed. I don't necessarily think the fourth dimension room really holds up all that well.
Oh,
And
I disagree. Yeah.
I'm not all that impressed with it, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't know, like these, so I know what to expect, and it's I don't know. Like I'm not saying it's a bad scene. I'm just saying like as far as like immersive Disney dark ride scenes go, it's not as all encompassing as I was hyped up to think it would be, I guess,
Yeah, yeah,
if that makes sense.
yeah. No, I get you.
But that being said, the drop sequence itself does kick ass, and like you get plenty of airtime. Like this thing is like the Disney airtime machine.
Mm.
I don't know. Again, I still think I prefer Guardians of the Galaxy just because Guardians of the Galaxy just has that. I just really think it's ingenious the way they turned a drop tower into a space shot, and there's just something really clever there.
Yeah,
But as a thrill ride and as an icon, the Tower of Terror will always, I couldn't quite rank it into my top 10, but it's obviously pretty high up.
mm.
It's pretty iconic.
Yeah. No, totally.
All right, you're number
Cool.
12.
My number 12. Oh, I have Dinosaur. It's Dinosaur, Tiki.
No,
I like Dinosaur.
I was really hoping it'd be in the top 10.
I get to see him. No, it's not. It's not in the top 10. But I still really like Dinosaur. It's a really fun setup. It's a really fun ride. Obviously, I prefer Indiana Jones. Honestly, my biggest thing with Dinosaur is that half of the effects don't work anymore. That's what
Okay,
kills it for
you know what
me.
the funny thing is that I think this is the thing with me being a California kid is that I didn't grow up with the effects, so therefore
Well, yeah, it's true.
I notice the effects on Indy. I notice every single effect on Indy that is not working.
Yeah, that's
With
fair.
Dinosaur, I just appreciate what I get, and what I get is a lot more animatronics still.
What you
Even
also
in
get
perfect
is
state.
3 minutes in a dark room.
I mean, you kind of get that with. I really don't like the second half of Indy.
Really?
Just basically everything from the rat room on, I think is
You
just
don't
kind of
like
trash.
the black light poison dart people?
No, I really don't, and I really wish that they changed that room. I
It's the
really,
carnival room, Tiki.
I know, I
It's
know. Like honestly, that room alone, I think is probably like I prefer black darkness over that because that takes me out of it. I know
yeah,
this is silly, but every time I go in that room, the only thing I can think of is that there's probably an employee break area like just around the corner because I can
yeah.
tell that I'm in a fucking building.
Well, no, that's just where the builders had took their breaks when they were building the temple. See? Do you know that the ancient
There's
Indians built a?
literally a door in that room that is sometimes open, all right?
Did you know that the ancient Indians built a basketball court back
Oh
there
god.
in the temple? Yeah. Anyway, dinosaurs fun. I don't know. I prefer the set pieces of indie. Um, I prefer how I think everything works at indie, even though I know it doesn't. But I can dream. I can pretend, Tiki, and that's really I keep the dream alive. Really, that's all I really
I
can
mean,
do
I
in
still remember
2022.
the turntable of chambers and everything.
Oh
Like,
yeah, I've always wanted to see that. Yeah,
oh yeah, I remember it. In
yeah,
my mind, it still works.
that's good. I'm glad.
All right,
Tokyo is
and
weird, where it's just like a weird water room. Sorry.
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And finally, my number 11, barely missing the top 10. Um, I don't think it would be this high if I hadn't returned in 2021 to get a couple more rides on it. But it's going to be Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway.
Okay.
I think for a ride that is mostly projection and screen based, I think they pretty much nailed it. Uh, like the queue for this thing is great, and the Disneyland one is going to be even better because it doesn't have to just reuse a lot of the Great Movie Ride queue. But for what
Yeah.
we get, I think the pre show is freaking phenomenal. I love the effect of actually walking through the screen and not knowing that that was going to be a thing on opening day was like a Disney memory that Rob and I are never going to forget.
Yeah.
Uh, and for the ride itself, I think it's just like, yeah, like I do hear the complaints that there are certain points where you do feel that you are in a building that is being just projected on, for sure.
Mm,
Some of the rooms are a little empty minus the screens.
mm.
But there's other rooms where there's just a shit ton of stuff going on. And it very much has a Pirates of the Caribbean style quality of, like just not even being able to take in everything. I think the boardwalk is definitely a room like that for sure. The last room with the park and you have the song playing and Mickey on the ukulele, that's also like just a kind of like take in the atmosphere type of room. And
Yeah.
honestly, I like this a lot better than Rise of the Resistance because I feel like Rise of the Resistance, again, it feels like you're on sterile sound stages a lot of the time. Whereas this, there's just a lot of activity, a lot of motion. Uh, there actually are animatronics. I'm not saying there's not animatronics in Rise. There are, but I feel like the ones here are more noticeable. And honestly, with Rise of the Resistance, on the 3 times I've been on it, 2 of the times Kylo Ren has been in B mode.
Oh, really?
Yes, so
Huh.
that might cloud my judgment a little
Yes.
bit.
Yeah.
How has it ever been recorded just how many hidden Mickeys there are on the ride? I know it's been said that it has the most, but just how many are there?
There are
I don't know if it's been recorded.
1,929.
Did you Google it?
No, I didn't. I'm just
Oh,
making things up.
I'm so gullible. Yeah. Okay. What's your number 11?
By number 11, I believe, is Flight of Passage.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. That's off the top 10. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Pretty-
Just barely off the top 10. Yeah,
All
Flight
right.
of Passage
Whatever
is
you
great.
say.
Oh, Tiki. Yeah, it is whatever I say, Tiki, on my list. You're right. Just remember, guys, in the comments, this is our list. If you disagree with us, that's totally fine.
In
If you
case
wanna,
it wasn't clear that it was our lists.
if you wanna throw your own list in the comments, please do, by all means. We'd love to see them. But this list is my opinion, and my opinion only. So please send no hate.
You
Thank
tell
you. I will. Damn it. Um,
them.
I've been around the block. I know how to handle this. Anyway. My number 11, Flight of Passage. Q's fantastic. Ride's great. Um, Honestly, I think like the biggest reason why this is ranked how it is obviously there are rides that I prefer. So I don't really have much negative to say about this. I do think the pre-shows are too long.
Oh, I agree there. Yeah.
I totally understand why they're so long because the ride's so long, but I hate that I have to go through like 7 minutes of pre-shows,
No,
getting
I feel it.
scanned.
I feel it,
Yeah,
especially with my foot issue.
yeah, and like watching not Sigourney Weaver tell me about the Avatar program.
I feel
Um,
like the pre-show literally has like one meme-worthy moment, and that's the whole like, and you can fly.
I know.
Other than that, it's just very dry.
Yeah, yeah,
And that moment is
but
memeable because of how dry it is.
yes, but it is a ride that I prefer to go through the regular queue for. I actually rode it twice when I went in 2018 because I rope
I don't
dropped
think I've
it.
ever actually used Fast Pass on it.
So I've never used Fast Pass on it. The first time I rode it, I rope dropped it,
Uh,
and I guess I was just so far up in the line that they just bypassed the queue. They sent everyone through the Fast Pass entrance.
oh shit! Yeah,
So I had to.
that's what they were doing during after hours.
Yeah. So I had
Uh,
to go back. I went back to see Pandora at night, and then I waited like an hour and a half so I could see the actual queue.
Worth it.
Yeah, no, it's totally worth it. It was great.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. It's obviously in my top 10. One thing I will say to kind of like tease how I feel about it is that it is the single simulator ride I have ever done that gives me the same sort of sensation of like a Pirates of the Caribbean or a Haunted Mansion, where every time I do it, I notice something new and there's just a lot to take in. And
Yeah.
I just really appreciate it about the actual like filmmaking behind it.
Yeah.
And it's a big reason why I'm as hyped for Avatar 2 as I am.
And I will say as well that I much prefer this to Soren.
Oh,
And
no,
they
no
didn't
doubt, no doubt.
they didn't even need an erector set to make this.
And on that, we will bid you good night, everybody. Stay
Goodbye.
tuned next week for the last. I don't know what part it is, but it's the
It's
last
the last part.
part. All right. And after you know what our rankings are, you also can
Yeah.
fly.
We're gonna do like Judi Dench and Spaceship Earth and point our finger and say, "What about you? What do you
ZMK
think?"
also, these some of these we actually don't record live, so if you happen to miss it, it might have just been that we recorded it like, privately and then uploaded it to the channel after the fact. So it's all good. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, these are all on the channel. You just have to do
Yeah.
some digging.
All right. Have a good night,
Yeah.
everyone. See y'all later.
Goodbye. Love you.